Hey guys, welcome to Watch with Poppy. Tonight we're going to be talking about this week's episode of The Originals. This show, you guys, is just so freaking good, and I feel like it just keeps getting better and better. This week's episode was another just kind of like emotional and crazy roller coaster ride. So let's talk about some of the moments that really kind of stuck out for me. I think the number one thing from this episode was Cole dying, right? Because I was very traumatized by that. I don't want to just talk about his death though. I want to kind of talk about what happened surrounding that, and especially the fact that he kind of got the acceptance that he'd been looking for from his family for so long. You have him kind of going to Klaus for help and that struggle. I think it was last week's episode where there was this really great scene between Klaus and Cole that was really tense, and you think Klaus is going to kill him, but then, you know, you've got Klaus telling him like, look, I don't want to kill you. I just want to know that I can trust you. There was a moment at the beginning of this episode, right, where Freya goes to the morgue and she starts doing her little spell over Finn, where I thought that she had switched their bodies. Like, that's what I thought had happened. I thought she had swapped Finn and Cole, and I was just waiting for that reveal, but then that never happened. It was sad to kind of see his goodbye tour during the episode. You know, he tries to not tell Davina for the longest time. And then, come on, you guys, that scene at the end with the two of them dancing in the graveyard was just like, it was just full of symbolism and complete and total sadness. And then, of course, the rest of the family shows up. You've got Elijah, Rebecca, and Klaus. They come to sit with him while he dies. Have I said the word sad enough? Because it was freaking sad, you guys. There was one kind of ray of hope as Rebecca kind of tells him, like, look, you're dying as a witch. We're going to consecrate your bones, and we're going to figure out how to bring you back. So I hope that means that at some point we are going to see Cole again. I am really sad to see him go. I would much rather see Finn die. I'm sorry, I just would. I really hope we don't have to wait too long before they bring him back. Let's talk about the wedding, which was the other kind of superstar of this episode. So Hayley and Jackson finally tie the knot. Let's talk about before the wedding, right? There's this moment where a couple of things. One, I thought it was so cute how Rebecca gives her this wedding dress. Now, she's been waiting for like decades and decades, so she's just been like collecting wedding dresses. So I thought that was kind of funny. The other thing is, let's talk about Elijah and Hayley. There comes that moment, right, where Elijah is there. He knows the wedding is gonna happen, and it's like he feels like he finally needs to just confess to her how he feels. And another great scene, you guys, when he walks into the room to say, like, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you, ... And then she's like, don't say it. Like, do not say it. Basically, like, if you say it, I'm not going to be able to go through with this. And I really want to go through with this. I think I can be happy with Jackson. And, you know, Elijah being the gentleman that he is, because he's still a gentleman. He keeps it to himself, and you get that. You know, he just wants her to be happy, and marrying Jackson is going to make her happy. It's going to keep her baby safe. It's going to make the pack stronger. And I do think there is a piece of Hayley that actually does kind of care for Jackson. Later, you know, after the wedding, which you guys, let's talk about the wedding scene, right? Just the scene of the wedding. First of all, Klaus like manages to take over and become like this evil wedding planner. But it was just beautiful, right? I mean, it was like in this gorgeous building, and there were lights and vines and brick, and it was just awesome. And the song they were playing was great, and it was just so romantic. And you guys already know how I feel about Jackson. I think he's wonderful, and you get that he is in love with Hayley. It was really cool too during the ceremony, like to see that power kind of trade between them, you know, when he kissed her, and then you saw all of the wolves, you saw their eyes light up, and it was just, it was really cool. After the ceremony though, there's a scene between Hayley and Jackson where, you know, he's really kind of letting her off the hook because she's like, okay, everybody's going home. What are we going to do next? Hint, hint. And he's just like, hey, we can go hang out with the baby. I'm all the way up for that. He totally loves her, but he's trying to give her space, give her time, right? But I loved that moment from her where she kind of tells him, like, I feel safe with you, and like, you're the first person to say, I love you to me. I thought that was so sweet, right? And then she tells him, like, look, I didn't marry you for everybody else. I also married you for myself. And yeah, that moment was great. And he just grabs her and kisses her. Have I mentioned how much I love Jackson? I love Jackson. Even the baby loves Jackson, you guys. I mean, there was a great little moment between the two of them when they meet for the first time. Klaus, of course, is a little jealous. And that was really deep, right? As he and Elijah kind of talk through that. We get he pretty much wants to snap Jackson's neck. But we really get that it's not about Hayley. It's more about hope, you know, and it's about the fact that is Jackson going to be the father figure in her life instead of Klaus. I don't know, that was kind of deep, I thought, and very interesting. I mean, he was getting ready to really kind of jeopardize all that they'd been doing to like create this protection for her because he was jealous. But we all know that that's Klaus, so there you go. Klaus also did this thing where he kind of invited Hayley and Jackson to come live in the house with him. So I'm not sure what he's up to, you guys, because something tells me that Klaus has got something up his sleeve. So I guess we'll wait and see what happens there. Now, the big reveal at the end of the episode is that we see that Freya has managed to bring Finn back from the dead. Whatever. We also get that Dahlia is coming. We've been waiting for it, and it seems like it is coming soon, basically. I thought it was really interesting. I can't remember if it was this week's episode or last week's episode where Freya was kind of explaining the magic that Dahlia had used to kind of put them to sleep, and then they would wake up like every 1,000 years for just a year. I thought that was really kind of interesting. And like the author in me was like, wouldn't that be a cool book if you wrote that book? Like, what would you do with a year if you had 1 year and then went to sleep every 1,000 years? It was kind of mind-boggling to me. But we get that Dahlia's powerful, she's vengeful, and we get that she is drawn to power. That was something that Freya mentioned at the end of the episode. So I definitely think she's coming, especially with some of the powers that we've seen Hope already kind of exhibit. I mean, last week there was, you know, all kinds of interesting things that she did. So I'm excited to see what's going to be coming. There's a part of me that thinks that they've gone to all this trouble to try to protect Hope. And wouldn't it be kind of interesting if in the end, she turned out to be like super powerful and didn't really need their protection after all? That would be really cool. And there's a part of me that feels like it's going that direction because we've seen glimpses of her power, but I think eventually we're going to see more of that. So can't wait for that. Okay, you guys, that's it for me this week. I will see you again soon. Bye.